welcome again to Common Ground Conversations, where my esteemed colleague, Dr. JoNeil Conley, and I get together. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, and talk about things where sometimes the conversations can be, and we're going to use a word here, dicey.
Dicey is for sure. Times. And I was doing some reading and came across a book called The Change Code. And we'll stick a little picture up here. And it was written by Monica Bourgeau. She actually studied the work of Clare Graves. And he was a um, it's like how all the sort of humanistic kind of thing in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He ended up dying in the early 80s. But his belief was that people change in a spiral kind of a methodology. And he actually, because we like structure, he assigned colors to all of these different, and they were actually value systems. And that was where he came out. And it was entitled Spiral Dynamics, about how we move through this particular issue. Well, this gal became aware of his work, and I think what drew me to her is that she had been a healthcare leader. And for those of you who don't know, that's been my background for a lot of years. And in her conversations, I could hear her acknowledging the brokenness of the interactions and the things. And if we take this even at a higher level to the world that you and I and we've been talking about for so long,
Yes.
the competing priorities, the limitation of resources, and a lot of the pieces of that.
Yeah. What
Um,
the parts that are broken.
the parts that are broken. There was
Yeah.
a quote, but let me just go through a couple of the things that I picked out of this particular. You can download a free thing, but um, she said sometimes these global problems that are going on, you feel angry and you may not even like people in general. And we've heard that before.
I'm
Um,
peopled out. Yes.
and this is another one. When you're in these change opportunities, you tiptoe around important issues to avoid a heated backlash, which is
Mhm.
exactly where you and I started months ago that we were having the conversation. And
Yep.
then I think this is the other piece of it. Your friends and family have stopped talking about anything controversial. Everybody just,
It's Casper milk toast from A to Z because there's no safe terrain.
yeah,
Is the belief. Yeah.
right, right. She talks about differences of value systems, and we can go through a whole plethora of that, but differences in value systems cause misunderstanding, polarization, hostility, and even war. We know that. But
As opposed to, and I'm just going to
yeah,
interject here, as
please.
opposed to being willing to attempt to understand how someone might have that value system.
Bingo.
Be curious. It gets you a
Mhm.
whole different interaction.
Yeah, yeah. And it does it's a very hopeful message, but this I think is important. She says human beings have gone through transformational changes many times. We went from agriculture to Renaissance to industrial, and now we're in the who the hell knows kind of a phase, kind of a phase of this world. But she also is talking to leaders. It says it takes leaders to be courageous, humble, and here's another key, I think, for all of us, comfortable with uncertainty.
Yes. Yes. Actually, Tony Robbins has a whole shtick that he does on certainty and uncertainty. And I think it's the vast majority of people are wedded to certainty.
Mhm.
What that does is put you in a cage. It so limits your movement,
Mm-hmm.
literally, that when we can become comfortable with being uncomfortable,
Yes. 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 Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and anything's possible.
Sure. Let's see. Oh, I like this one. This will make all of us happy. Our society isn't crumbling. It is in the midst of a major transformation. And Bonnie, how many times in the morning have you said those
And
words?
sometimes we go think about a bow and arrow. You draw back
Yeah.
to go forward. It may look like an entire shit show is unfolding, but that doesn't mean that something down the road may not open up that possibly might not have been possible had we not had the churn.
Yeah.
We're in the churn.
And I did a training the other day about conflict to a group of leaders, and I said part of learning to do that is to do the work.
No,
And whatever that looks like, whether it's coaching, whether it's a book, whether it's church, whether it's faith, whether it's all the things. I mean, there's so many resources out there. And a lot of people aren't willing to do the work.
right,
You know,
right.
as you,
And to be in a place of acceptance as best you can, because I can't tell you the number of couples I talk to
yeah.
where one is willing to do the work and the other one is
Oh,
not.
sure.
And that's a painful, painful place to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do your work.
Yeah.
Do your work anyway. Allow the other person. They may come trailing along behind you. You never know.
Yeah.
But you're still called to do your work, even if those around you are not unwilling.
Oh, say that one more time because I think that's so powerful.
We are called to do our work, even if those around us are unwilling to do their work.
For sure. For sure. So,
No excuses.
no, none whatsoever. And there was actually 7 principles. We're going to kind of walk through those principles as they relate to this common ground. And one of them, she does talk about spiral dynamics, but we'll move past that. So,
Because you can, and here's the thing, you can Google it. If
yeah,
you want to know more, you can Google it.
yeah, order the book. Um,
Yeah.
her principle number 1, commit, keyword, to being an agent of change. Bonnie, what's
Yep.
that look like for you?
It means asking questions. It means asking why not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it means being willing to allow for change.
Mm-hmm.
That it's happening anyway.
Yeah.
And there's a beautiful quote from Jungian analyst Marion Woodman,
Oh,
where her Jungian analyst said to her, Mrs. Woodman, you can go forward kicking and screaming like a pig to slaughter, or you can stand up and walk with some modicum of dignity.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We get to choose.
sure.
We get to choose. The change is happening anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Are we moving forward with grace?
And I do think part of that is accepting that change is going to happen. I mean, it just is. Think about the
And
change.
not
I
all of
mean,
it is going to be of our liking.
no.
Not all of it is going to be of our liking.
And I do think though what kerfuffles people is that sense of loss of control.
Mhm.
That all of this is happening outside of me, without me, and all of that.
And I don't like it and I don't want it and it doesn't change that doesn't change it anyway. And here's one of the key I mean I think the universe has a great sense of
I
humor.
do too,
One of
completely.
the paradoxes that we all live with is the more controlling we are,
Hmm.
the more out of control we feel.
Yeah.
The lighter our hand in holding something, the more in control we feel. We can flow with that. Wow,
Yeah.
look at that happen. I wonder
Hmm.
how this is going to turn
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. This or something better, as you say.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So number 2, we actually have discussed this quite a bit, is do your inner work first. And she talks about understanding your own values and your triggers. And I think a lot of people are triggered and don't even have a clue. They're just, I'm just upset for the sake of being upset, but have an
Right.
understanding so that you can roll. Practice extreme self-care to stay grounded. I think that's another
Yes.
one.
And what I would say with that one is don't just look to everyone else. Well, what do they do for self-care? I mean, it's one way to find out, but each person is this unique individual, and what is self-care to one person may be torture to another.
Oh, that you got that one right. You got
Yeah.
that one right.
For
Yeah.
like, I'll give you an example. For some people, cleaning their house is self-care. I'd be like,
Yeah. 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 When I get stressed, I clean. I can relate to that.
I didn't get that, Gene.
Yeah.
Nope.
Uh, There you go. But again, it's just that having everything neat
Hmm.
and tidy in that piece of it. Sure. So number 3, it talks about this is where she talks a little bit about the code. Encourage expression at all value levels, at all levels of the code.
Well, let me ask you a question there. How able are you to hear someone's
Hmm.
opinion on something that is very different than yours, especially if it bumps up against something that is a fundamental truth for you? Like
Absolutely.
I recently heard someone who said and is truly he believed women don't need to be getting paid what men get paid.
Mm-hmm.
He did not see the reason for that at all. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's near and
Mm-hmm.
dear to my heart. I'm sorry, but I don't think
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the vast majority of jobs,
It's not.
gonads make a difference.
It's. I was gonna say gender. It doesn't matter.
No.
Sure, sure. I'm with you on that one, 100%.
Yep.
And
But
was
I was
there?
trying to hear. I was doing what I could to
God,
hear.
God
You know,
bless you. Was there a lynch mob outside the door? I mean, kind of a thing.
but I could see other eyes in the
Yeah,
room rolling,
yeah,
most
yeah.
definitely.
And
Yeah.
and in that situation, you're not going to change that person. That's
No,
the thing. I think well, damn it, here's the statistics and here's the that. It didn't matter.
doesn't
Just
matter.
let that one go, kind of a thing.
Right.
I think that's
And
crucial.
and and maybe be curious about it. Is there a way for me to understand where he's coming from that might make it make sense to me why he says what he says?
Yeah. God bless you. Yeah,
Some days not so
I
easy.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, so this next one, find common ground. That's what started this whole conversation.
Yes,
And
and let me just pitch an example of that because
yeah,
people may not know what that even means.
sure.
So let's talk gun control.
Yeah.
You get someone on the far end of the continuum for either part of that. If
Hmm.
you keep digging, part
Hmm.
of what you're going to find is a safety thing.
Yeah.
People want to feel safe. Those two people on the far ends have different ways of going about getting to
Yes,
feeling safe.
exactly.
So the
Exactly.
common ground is safety. How they get there is different.
And doing the work to get to there because you can just look at that other person and say that's what they believe that they're over there and
They're
you're
a
gonna
lunatic, they're a nut,
Mhm.
they're a,
Yep,
all the words.
all
Yeah,
the words.
no name calling.
Yep.
Not
Okay,
helpful.
here we go. Build resilient community, connection, and opportunities for communication. And I think that's support individuals as a whole, gather groups together to work on solutions to common problems that are in a win-win for everyone.
And
And
interestingly, our country has been so steeped in the romanticized view of the tough lone individual who
yeah,
goes, no, no, no.
yeah.
Human beings are herd animals. We are
Hmm.
herd animals.
Absolutely.
We need our group. We need
Hmm.
to tend and befriend.
Yep.
We need
Yep.
to lift that up as a valuable skill set.
Well, and just read the Surgeon General's report on loneliness. That in
Hmm.
and of itself, I mean, it was the last Surgeon General, but regardless, the loneliness epidemic, and we cannot talk about that without talking about COVID, which was what, 5 years ago right now, pushed us into ourselves, pushed us away. We became afraid of each other and all of that, which only exacerbated loneliness.
Right,
So,
right. Very much so.
spot on. This is another one that you've talked about at great length. Encourage others in something bigger than all of us. That
Hmm.
that bigger
Yep.
vision, that bigger
Yeah. So we
vision.
got to get away from WIIFM.
Yeah, what's in it for me?
Yep.
Develop. This is the other thing. And I wanted to back up about connection and community. This is where we plug Braver Angels. For those of you who
Yes.
have not heard us talk about that, there's a group called Braver Angels. And what's interesting, Bonnie lives in Wisconsin and I live in Michigan, and there are Michigan chapters. There are Michigan specific
Hmm.
things happening. But if you go online, and we can put it in the show notes, braverangels.org.
Hmm.
And their goal is to bring both sides. And they've offered wonderful resources where that's
Yes.
concerned.
Very helpful stuff.
So, last one, develop new systems to solve more complex problems. Agents for Change envision, develop, and implement solutions that allow everyone to move into the next phase of development.
Yep. So there I would like to quote Albert Einstein, we do not solve a problem with the same level of
Yeah,
consciousness that created it in the first place.
yeah,
We got to rise
we
above
do.
to solve the
We
problems.
do. So let me give you a Clare Graves quote. The present moment finds our society attempting to negotiate the most difficult, at the same time, most exciting transition the human race has ever faced. It is not merely a transition to a new level of existence, but the start of a new movement in the symphony of human history.
Love
Nin-
that. New
19,
movement.
1974
Uh-huh.
was when this was written. 50,
Uh-huh.
and I find it so when people will read these quotes and it's like, oh my God, that's now. And it was 50 years ago,
Right.
100 years ago.
And one of the things that I've learned about that is because many of these patterns repeat in a length of time longer than a human lifetime,
Yeah, yeah.
we don't observe them as patterns.
Yeah, yeah. Or crossover lifetimes,
Hmm.
kind of thing, people in the middle and yeah, yeah. And so I think that our bottom line message here is that the world has been through changes before. Our country's been through changes before.
Absolutely. Yes. Can we see the God presence in everybody?
Hmm.
It's everywhere.
It is.
It's in everybody, even the people that we struggle with.
Yeah. So, friends, thank you for coming to our Common Ground conversation, which we try to do every couple weeks and share this.
Yeah.
And we try to find some resources that will might help you, might assist. But Bonnie is available. Her contact information will be available. I'm available for coaching. And because I think
Yes.
our mission, you and I having this conversation, is so that other people can have the conversation too.
Absolutely. And we just want to make it easier for us all to be walking the path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks much. Bye.